friends. Happy Friday. Hope you're inside nice and warm. All the snow that we got this evening. I don't know if it's still snowing or not, but it sure did come down. Um, when we do have snow in the evening like this, it's a good thing to do in the morning when you go out. Um, First thing in the morning, go out there and dust off your feeders. Make sure that all the perches are accessible and the ports don't have any snow on them. It's not good for the birds, and it's if the snow gets into that seed, because the seed will eventually get wet and then it can get gross and the birds won't come. So we want to keep the birds coming, and we know that birds eat heavily when the snow falls. So be sure that you're prepared. Make sure that you fill those feeders, because they're going to be looking for food first thing in the morning as soon as light hits, because they're going to be needing to replenish lost reserves that were used overnight. So all the energy that they stocked up on this morning and this afternoon, I'm sure your feeders were banging with activity, which is really nice to see. But they're doing that for a reason. They're preparing for a cold night. So we know in the morning we got to restock and refill for them so that they are in good hands, so that you're taking good care of them, and that they will have nutrient replenishment for the next day. So I know you guys are all taking care of them, and you are going to do your best to make sure that the snow is clear from the feeders so that birds can gain access to the food when they need it. All right. The other thing I want to talk about right away before we get into events and all the goodies tonight, is I want to talk about Christmas suet, because we've gotten the last of it. So if you enjoyed Christmas suet and you want more of it, the last of it is here and it's out on the floor. So it's in fact right behind me in this top bin is the last of our Christmas suet. So the bins are it's nearly halfway empty, but that is the last of it. I won't get any more Christmas suet until next winter. So 2026, probably around, November time is when I can start ordering it. Possibly October, kind of depends on when my suppliers have it made and they launch it. But Christmas suet is excellent. It's one of my birds' favorites. Besides super suet, which I probably use 90% of the time, the other 10% of the time I'm using Christmas suet, because it's just packed with all sorts of roasted peanuts and cranberries and almonds and pecans and walnuts and blueberries and cherries and papaya and raisins. So it's packed with all sorts of goodies in there that the birds enjoy. And I know it's so loved by birds, but it's also loved by all of you because of how much your birds love it. So grab it while it's still in stock. Like I said, won't be able to get Christmas suet back in the store until the next holiday season. So grab it while it's still here, all right? The other thing I want to talk about is that we have a cool activity game giveaway, if you will, happening in the store. You are more than welcome to participate in online on social media, but in the store we're doing it a little bit different, and we've kind of turned it into a game where you can win a little prize. But what it is we're voting on what you think Rock Run Rosie, if she will see her shadow or not. Rock Run Rosie is a real groundhog. She does live right by the store. Her den is kind of by the sidewalk. Next time you're in and you want to know where it is, I'll point it out to you. But she is here. She's a real groundhog. We really do see her. She has her kits. Her babies come out, in the spring, and they are a lot of fun to watch as they kind of roll around in our side garden here. They're really entertaining and super, super cute. But of course, Groundhog Day is happening on February 2nd. So from now until the 2nd, you come in and make your prediction, either yes or no. We're going to pick 2 lucky winners to win a little prize. And I mean, it's a small little prize. It's either a winter little bird figurine or a spring bird figurine, which I think is quite fitting for the activity at hand. But if there's no shadow, it means that it's 6 more weeks till spring. Or if she does see a shadow, it's 6 more weeks of winter. So But it's here, the game is here. You're welcome to play online. Of course, online votes won't be counted for this. This is only in store, so if you would like to make your guess and prediction, you can certainly come in and make your prediction before Monday, and we will draw some winners on Monday, and we'll give you a call to let you know that you've won, all right? But she is a real groundhog, real one that we see right here, right by the store. So I thought it'd be really fun to kind of make a little prediction game with it and kind of have some fun around Groundhog's Day. All right, so that's that with Rock Run Rosie. Let's clear my space a little bit because I want to go over some events before I go over our new things that we've gotten in. I got quite a few new things I want to show you. This weekend on Saturday we have an activity to build your own pine cone bird feeder craft. So if you would like to participate in that, I think I have a couple more seats available. Just call the store or kind of stop by between the hours of 1 and 3 when we're doing the craft. I have plenty of pine cones, so don't feel like you're not going to be able to, we won't have enough supplies. We have plenty of supplies. Just kind of want to know a head count so I know how much table space I'm going to need. So if you can call the store, that'd be best for tomorrow. In February, we have a couple really cool things happening. First of all, it's the Great Backyard Bird Count happens in February, which is a 4-day bird counting, often at your feeders, or you could do it at the feeders here or at a nature center. But it's a 4-day citizen science project of counting and reporting what birds you're seeing in your own yard or at the feeders that you're visiting. On the 6th and 7th, February 6th and 7th, we are having our how-to days, how to do the Great Backyard Bird Count. So if you would like to learn how to ID birds, how to do the count, how to input that data, those days are for you. So you can come in, we'll show you how to get started on either eBird or Merlin ID and show you how to do those counts right here in the store. So just anytime between 9 and 5 p.m. on either Friday, February 6th or Saturday, February 7th. Come in and we can go over that with you so you can be prepared for when the Great Backyard Bird Count actually happens, so which is the following week. On the 14th, February 14th is Valentine's Day, and we would love to celebrate Valentine's Day and the love of birds with a presentation called The Secret Love Life of Birds. It's a really great presentation. I highly recommend you come check it out. You might be blown away by what you learn from that presentation. It's pretty fascinating how birds strategize mating and courtship. It's pretty, it's not quite black and white like some people think it is. It's much more complicated. So come and check that out. That is happening at 11 o'clock on February 14th. So it's a perfect couples outing to do an activity that's featured around romance of your lovebirds, and then you can go out together and have a wonderful evening together and celebrate the Valentine's Day. February 20th is our makeup of the avian artistry class. It's our last class, so if you'd like to participate and join us for acrylics, how to paint birds, this is at Dottie's Art Studio in Plainfield. The class is from 7 to 9 p.m. If you want to participate in that, we'll have a link so you can register and all of that. And then the last thing we have scheduled for February is on the 22nd. It is a Sunday, but we're bringing hedgehogs to start off spring. So it'll be a meet and greet with some fun hedgehogs from Incredible Bats, and they will bring them in and you can hold and touch and take pictures of them with them and just learn about cool little cute hedgehogs. So that's what's happening in February. All of our events are here listed at the store, but they're also all online on our website, and I'm working to put the last few events on Facebook, but their majority are already out there. So So please come and join us for some February events. Of course, you know what also happens in February is our bird food sale. So starting February 1st, all of our bird food goes 15% off for everyone. Now, of course, if you're a Daily Savings Club member, you get some extra perks like 5% on top of those 15% off sales. You get an extra 5% off, and you not only get it for the first 2 weeks of the month, but you get it for the entire month. So it really pays to be a Daily Savings Club member during sale month. So it's very, very a good time because we're celebrating Feed the Birds, and we get to love on our birds for the month of love, and a little love for you guys all too by getting some discounts in February. So more on that will come out. I'm sure you've gotten your postcard already, but I will be sending out an email February 1st to remind you that that sale starts, all right? Let's get to it. We have some new items I want to show you before we get onto our big topic tonight, which is a customer or a follower recommendation. We're talking tonight mainly about how to attract cardinals to your yard, to your feeders. So before we get into that, I want to show you some of the new things we got in to kind of show off some of the cute stuff that's starting to come in. We have some spinners that I'm not showing tonight, but they are big, they are beautiful. You got to come in and see them in person. Lots of good stuff though. Starting off, we have some little racks, these art racks that are super popular. We have a couple different styles, and even in these styles, there are about 3 different varieties of these stones. So I think these are perfect for whether you're at your desk or you want to give a little something to someone, to say thank you or to give them kind of an uplifting message. But these are really, really cute. I have bee ones that this one says be kind, but I have other ones say be happy. But they're super, super cute. And they have like gold backdrop on the back, but super cute little hand-painted stones. I have ones that are insect related, such as Save the Bugs with a ladybug on there, or Save the Bees, equally as important. How about Save the Butterflies? I love that message too. Insects are so, so important for our birds, but also for healthy ecosystems and habitats. So equally good. And then our sunflower ones are super cute too, and there are probably about 6 different styles in here. I'm going to grab 2 to show you. One says, hello sunshine, and this one says, you are my sunshine. I like that one too. But cute little rack things that are here, about $5 or so. Finger puppets are back. These are super cute. These make great additions to Easter baskets or cute little gifts for the kids. But they have bunnies, we have lambs, and we have ducks here. And I love how they have kind of a little elastic in the sleeve of these, so they stay perfect on your fingers. Even if it's little fingers, they'll stay really nice. But really cute. I know the kiddos all love finger puppets, so these are really, really fun. We also got in some water whistles. I'll have to take one out and try one, but essentially what you do is you put some water in it and then blow in it like a whistle, and it sounds just like a real bird. So how cool is that? Again, a little fun addition to an Easter basket or to give to someone for like a child for Valentine's Day. They're kind of cute, right? We also have gotten in more things for our memorial section, specifically pet memorials. These little stones, or they could be a wall plaque too, because they have that wall mount option on there. But these have come in. They all say like things like, you are the brightest star in the sky. This one says, you were my favorite hello and my hardest goodbye. How cute is that? And this one, the path to heaven is paved in your paw prints. So I love these, and we know we have pretty good, decent selection of pet memorial and human memorial items, but these have just arrived, so I figured I'd share them with you today since they were just arrived today. And then we have gotten in a bunch of steaks, but since tonight I'm focusing on Cardinals, I figured I'd show you the 3 new Cardinal steaks that we've just gotten in. So the first one, both of these 2 ones that I'm going to show you first are mostly metal. So this one is more like a laser cut cardinal, super cute for maybe at a cemetery or just in your yard. And this one is equally as cute, mostly metal except for this bouncy little wing that is actually made out of glass. So really, really cute, pretty good priced. And then this one, which is back pretty much by popular demand because we went through them so fast last year. We got in a couple more that we could get our hands on, but these are actually motion censored. So when you turn it on and we walk by it, or anyone walks by it day or night, it's going to sing like a cardinal. So I'm going to turn it on and show you what I'm talking about. It doesn't look like that. I'm probably this close. So it makes some nice noises, sounds just like a cardinal, really cute. And again, it has a solar charger, so it charges via solar for the battery inside, but it is motion censored. So it doesn't necessarily need light or day, but it can, any time of the day, it's going to make that pretty cardinal sound and be so fun. So that's what's new. Let's get on to our main topic tonight, which was a request from a follower. One of you have requested that we talk about how to attract cardinals. So that is what we're going to talk about tonight. So let me get some stuff out of the way, and then we'll start in just a second. All right, Judy. Oh, one other thing. We've gotten in 2 new, these are door hangers, but they could also be wall hangers, and I thought it was really appropriate because we're talking about cardinals tonight. So we have a cardinal one, and we also have a nice hydrangea one. Very spring-like, right? But I thought those were cute too. I wanted to show you those. Get these out of the way. Because we're talking cardinals tonight, and I have some things I want to show you, and I want to have enough space to make sure I don't knock anything over. But first, I want to show you our cardinals so we know the specific bird we are talking about in case you're not familiar with what a cardinal looks like. So we have the male here, stunning red. He's probably the bright color in your backyard right now amongst the white, drab, snowy winter backdrop. The female is equally as beautiful in my opinion, but she is more brown, a little bit more drab in color, but she's still, both of them have that really iconic cardinal crest, which is that this part of his head, that little tuft of fur or hair that comes up, that is what we call a crest. So the males are iconic with that black mask, but really red feathers and that beautiful bright orange bill. Same with the female, although she's more drab, she still has a red crest, if you can tell, and her bill is also really bright, bright orange. Now, you may have noticed, or may not know that you have noticed, what the young look like. Now, young cardinals look just like mom. Okay, so here's mom, here's a juvenile. Now, both boy and girl, female and male babies, come out looking like mom. And if it's a male, they will molt into their red feather coloration. But what's really noticeable between the juveniles and an adult female is that bill color. So their mouth, their beak actually looks kind of black or dark gray in comparison to the mom, which is that bright orange, bright colored bill. See that difference? But of course, we're not into baby season quite yet, but we're really going to talk about tonight on how to attract them. And that's mostly with food and feeders, but also ways that you can invite them to your yard all season. So let's get started. Let's talk about that. Cardinals' diet is pretty varied. Now they can eat everything from insects to fruit. They'll eat seeds. They'll eat nuts. They're big on insects though. They'll even eat mealworms. And insects in general are mostly for spring, because in spring we know the north is abundant in insects, and their young are mostly fed insects, especially when they are in the nest still. So it's just as little hatchlings or as little young birds, they are mostly eating insects, which is why it's so important to make sure that we're providing a habitat full of native plants that support our native insect populations, because insects are super important to cardinals from when they're babies all the way as adults. So big thing for those cardinals. But other things that they like to eat are your sunflower seeds. So those black oil sunflower seeds or striped sunflower seeds, even sunflower chips. They absolutely love that. They also like safflower. Safflower is that white seed. Here's some safflower just to show you. That white seed is some of their top favorite seeds. So they love safflower. They also love bark butter bits and bark butter products. They will even eat suet if it's accessible to them to the way that they like to eat. They'll also eat mealworms and peanuts and tree nuts. So really quite a variety of food. I really like to offer, if you are big into our big 20-pound bags of seed, I really like Supreme Blend because, again, high in sunflower and safflower, which are probably their top two favorite ingredients. But also a choice blend would be also great blend to pick because it's, again, like Supreme with a little bit of peanuts in it, which is a great mix. But if you're really looking for a blend that has literally everything that cardinals like to eat, I would suggest Cardinal Blend. Let me show you Cardinal Blend. Our Cardinal Confetti Blend literally has all of it, from sunflower seeds, sunflower chips, safflower, natural safflower, bark butter bits, mealworms. It's all in here. So you have one big blend that has everything that's Cardinal's favorite. Okay, so this is great to offer as a loose option. And of course, we have it in a seed cylinder form, perfect for cardinals if you like to feed in seed cylinder form. Now, the biggest thing when talking about cardinals and attracting them to your yard is how they eat. Cardinals prefer to eat ground level. So what I mean by that is they like to eat flat surface, forward-facing eating. All right, so for example, we want to use feeders that mimic that. So for example, tray feeders, something like this is a great option. Not only because it has a cool little cardinal on it, but the tray itself is very much mimicking how cardinals like to eat on the ground. So the flat surface of this tray is like the ground. They're able to eat forward facing, and they can kind of have enough room for their big bodies to eat at the feeder. Another option could be something, of course, like these two feeders. Again, tray styles that mimic the ground. All right. These are two. This one is actually from our Cardinal Confetti collection. Yes, it's red. Do they care if it's red? Not really. But it's kind of fun to kind of have feeders that are very, very accommodating to cardinals. So if you know we want to dedicate certain feeders to our cardinals, think about maybe considering picking up a red one because you know it'll remind you, oh yeah, that's cardinal feeder right there. And of course the trays, I would highly recommend a cover for, like we showed you on that one with the red dome right here, because in the winter with all the snow that we're getting, it's nice that you don't have to go out there and worry about these kind of tray feeders, which are much more exposed than other types of feeders. So a dome will protect the seed inside here from becoming totally snow covered. All right, so something like that. But what about other feeders that aren't necessarily trays? Let's talk about a hopper feeder. So a hopper feeder is kind of what looks like a house feeder, but it's able to hold a large capacity of seed. This one, of course, has that nice flat edge that's very attractive to cardinals because, again, it's mimicking the ground, right? There's no clinging involved. So they're probably not going to eat the suet on the side where they have to cling, but they would definitely eat here and eat all the seeds that are in this feeder. Another option could be a tube style feeder, such as an eliminator. Now this is one of our squirrel proof feeders, and this ring on it is actually called the cardinal ring. So this ring allows cardinals to sit forward facing, whereas they otherwise would have to use these metal perches that you see here. And they don't really like that too much. All right, let's show you another kind of tube style feeder. This one is our Cardinal Confetti tube feeder. It's a small version of our extra large seed tube feeder, but the reason why this is so attractive to cardinals is because of this wide perch, which allows them to forward face eat. So if you've been wondering, well, what's the difference between that and the feeder that I currently have that has a stick perch? Well, if I was a cardinal and I came to this green feeder right here, they would have to sit sideways and turn their head to eat, which is not as attractive because this is not mimicking how they would normally eat out in nature on the ground. All right, so not as attractive. Not to say that they won't do it, but it's not as appealing as if you had this feeder out there, right, with those big, large perches on there that allow them to comfortably eat forward facing. So if you were to ask me which feeder am I going to get more cardinals on, I'm 100% going to advise this one because of that wide perch, which is very accessible for cardinals to feed off of. Saying that this one won't work for cardinals is not true. It's just not going to be as appealing. So if you really, really want to get cardinals to your yard, think about the types of feeders you have and if they're going to be accommodating to cardinals. Does it mimic forward-facing eating? That is the big, big thing. Now, placement of feeders is almost equally as important because cardinals, they like to feel safe when they come to the feeder. So I would recommend placing feeders near trees or shrubs within a short distance so it makes them feel safe. But of course, we also want to place the feeder somewhere where you're going to be able to see it, because the whole point of attracting cardinals is to be able to enjoy them more and see them more in your yard. So it has to be a compromise between somewhere where we can easily see it, but also somewhere where the birds are going to feel comfortable and safe. So maybe it's not directly in the middle of the yard, but maybe it's a little bit closer to a tree or a shrub that's going to make them feel a little bit more comfortable and that they have a place to go if there's a predator such as a hawk comes into the yard. They can quickly escape and find cover. Okay. Now, other things that can help put out the welcome mat for cardinals. Oh, and before I get into that, I want to talk about cylinders for just a quick second, because while we do have quite a variety of cylinder feeders, there are a couple that are more accommodating than others to cardinals. And let me show you. So I grabbed the Tidy, the small copper Tidy feeder, and we do have this one in a large so that you can put a large seed cylinder in it. But again, that flat surface, this tray part right here, is very accommodating to cardinals to come in and sit forward facing and being able to eat the cylinder. Equally as attractive to this one would be our vertical cylinder feeder. And of course I grabbed a red one because we're talking about cardinals. But again, this one has this really nice perch here. So whereas cardinals aren't as good at clinging, so they're not going to come to this and necessarily cling to it. If you have a feeder like this that has a nice perch, they can still forward face and eat comfortably at your cylinders. So if you have a feeder that's for cylinders that does not offer a perch that they can forward face or a ledge where they can forward face, you might want to consider adapting your cylinder feeder, bringing it in, and let's talk about other ways we can make it more attractive for your cardinals, or going to a different type of cylinder feeder to make it more accommodating for your cardinals. All right, I hope that makes a little bit more sense. Now, let's talk real quick about ways that we can really put the welcome mat out for cardinals every day of the year. And it really starts with your yard and the plants that are in it. So like I talked about, native plants host not only insects and things like that are very important to cardinals, not only for their young, but for their just regular diet during the spring and summer. But native plants also provide food and shelter and places to raise young. So we know some of our trees produce nuts. Some of our plants, our native plants, produce seeds. And all of those can be food for cardinals. But did you think about the native plants that are providing shelter, such as a place like one of our evergreen trees that is housing cardinals right now overnight or during a snowy day or a rainy day? Our trees especially our native trees, are abundant for birds and they need it to seek shelter, whether that's shelter from the weather or shelter from predators. So very big important. And the other thing native plants really do is give cardinals and other birds places to raise young. Remember, cardinals don't use nest boxes, so they will not build a nest in a birdhouse. You will never find a cardinal nest box here at my store because they simply do not use them. They build a cup nest out in nature, usually in a shrub or a tree, and they raise their young in that cup nest. They're not using a nest box, a birdhouse. So native plants are really utilized by birds like cardinals to have a place to raise young. So native plants are so important. If you have not rolled out that welcome mat by placing more natives in your yard, consider doing that this spring. All right. Number 2 would be providing that reliable food. Of course, natural food is top tier, and birds will always forage for natural food regardless of what season we're in. But supplemental food from like feeders is top notch. Remember, we want them to put our feeders on their mental GPS. Are you doing that? Are you having your restaurant open and ready for use? I'm sure you are. And I'm sure the cardinals know. So we just have to make sure that all of them know that you have the cardinal buffet going so that they tell all their friends and they all come to your yard too. And then number 3 would be water year round. So I know in winter it can be tricky to provide water for birds, but we do have heated bird baths and water heaters, de-icers that you could add to existing bird baths to provide water in winter. Of course, it doesn't stop once winter is over. We got to keep out the bird bath all year round because birds need water to drink and stay hydrated, but also to preen and move, keep feathers in top flight condition at all time. So water is really important. Make sure that it's fresh and make sure that it's clean, and you're going to do your birds such great things. And of course, when we get into the season, nesting material is important. Now I know there are a lot of nesting materials available, but remember, we want to think more natural when it comes to your cardinals. Think grasses and small twigs, pine needles. One of the best ways to put some of that natural nesting material that you collect right from your own backyard is actually a really clean suet cage. Something that they could easily grab as they're up, or even put it in a tray feeder, something like this. and just place all those grasses, the twigs hanging up in the yard, and watch all the birds, especially the mamas, grab all the ingredients in here to make the building. Watch them build a nest right in your backyard. It's a pretty incredible thing to witness if you ever get the chance to do that. So if you guys have any questions, put them in the comments. I'm happy to answer them for you. I hope we've kind of talked about all the ways that we can attract cardinals. But the main thing you want to think about is the type of food you're offering and the type of feeder you're using. Remember, we're mimicking how birds naturally eat. So if you really want to attract cardinals, make sure that your feeder is forward-facing, ground level mimicking. All right, that is going to be the most appealing and attractive to your cardinals. And I'm telling you, you're going to have a yard full. And wouldn't that be amazing to wake up one morning and just be able to look outside and see all the cardinals in your yard? It's absolutely stunning and amazing. And winter is a great time for that because in nesting season, birds tend to be a little bit more territorial, and they may not like other cardinals in their spots. So if you have a cardinal pair that is called your backyard their territory, they may not allow as many other cardinals, especially males, into the yard. But winter is a different game. We're not on territories because we're not fighting for nesting resources such as food and territories and mates. They are flocking together. So you might actually see 6 or 8 or 10 cardinals out there all together. And because they're not on nesting duties, they are working together to find more eyes to find food and more eyes to look for predators. So winter is a great time to watch birds and especially to attract cardinals because they sure are bright on our dreary winter days. All right, I hope to see you this weekend as we prepare our pine cone feeder craft, or as you can grab some Christmas to it, the last call, the last while it's here, and all the other goodies that we have here in the store that's coming in for spring. Don't forget we have bird food sale coming up in February, so be sure that you come in and stock up for that. Again, if you need food now, just grab a little bit, grab a 5-pound or a 10-pound, get you through until February happens. But it's important that we keep our feeders full so that birds can keep us in there as a reliable food source. They're using so much energy, they need that replenishment, so it's important that we provide it for them to keep them happy and healthy and coming back for more. All right, guys, we'll see you next week around 5:30 on next Friday to tell you what's new and happening in the store and what's happening out in nature. Again, if you have any questions or have another topic you'd like us to talk about, put it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. All right, thanks so much and have a great evening.